Hello. So we would like to thank you for coming to talk with us about creating accessible Power BI reports. My name is Megan Longoria. I'm a consultant with Denny Cherry and Associates Consulting, and I spend a lot of time building Power BI reports.
Hi, I'm Tessa Herr, and I'm a program manager on Power BI.
So I'd like to start with a scenario. Let's say you're part of a team that needs to clean the floors in a big building, and you've been provided with a vacuum cleaner to get the job done, and everyone else got extension cords, but they ran out before they got to you. And so the cord on your vacuum won't reach half the room, and you search the building maybe to find something else to clean, and you find a broom, but there's no dustpan. And so you go around the office looking for the dustpan and asking your team if they've seen it, and after lots of asking and searching, you finally find one that's seen maybe better days, but it'll get the job done. So you work really hard to get the floor clean of dust, but it took you twice as long and twice as much effort. Did you accomplish your goal? Yes. But did it have to be so difficult? Probably not. Could a small change of somebody remembering the extra extension cord have made a big difference in how productive you were? So let's say you did this every day, and this happened every day for a week where you didn't get an extension cord. Raise your hand if you would come back the next day. Yeah, I don't see any hands. So part of the problem with accessibility, especially in data viz, since not very many people talk about it, is that we build for ourselves. We build reports that work for us as report developers because that's really all we know, and it's human nature. It's not something that you or I in particular are doing wrong. We just go, oh, this report looks good for me and the way that I work. But what we really need to do is actually figure out who's going to use our report. Who's in our intended audiences? Do they have any disabilities? What are their preferences for the way they work? Because ultimately, our end user getting information out of our reports and using those reports is the measure of success. So in order to make this easier, we actually just need to change our mindset. And I'll explain what I mean by that. And especially in the United States, most of us grew up thinking about disabilities as a medical condition. So you are in a wheelchair because your legs can't support you walking, or you're blind. You should go have some kind of medical therapy or procedure to get that fixed. But there's actually another way to look at it, and that's called the social model of disability. And what it says is basically it's not the actual condition that is the disability, it's all the societal barriers that we've put in place. So what I mean by that is, think about before most places had wheelchair access and elevators. If someone wanted to come to a conference like this, they would have a really hard time doing it. But we as a society have decided, you know what, we would like to remove that social barrier. And so we want people who need to use elevators and wheelchair ramps to come to these conferences. That's the social model. So it's putting the onus on all of us to make a better environment for people who may work differently, may move around in a space, or use a Power BI report differently. So I won't nerd out on lots of design concepts too much, but this is one I hope you'll take with you if you haven't heard of it before. And it's universal design. And all that really refers to is that we try to build with inclusiveness in mind up front. So it's not this afterthought where we bolt on something. So we have a baseline of what we want all of our users to do, and we try to push everyone forward so that everybody can use our website, our app, our Power BI report to some extent. Now, it's not pie in the sky where we think everyone will use our report perfectly and equally, but we do make sure that we include all of our user base and do as much as we can to be inclusive. So with that in mind, let's look at accessibility in Power BI reports. And the way I like to explain it is that Power BI gives you the pieces to make a really nice, accessible Power BI report, meaning the consumption experience for your end users is very accessible, And some of them are built in, but some of them, Power BI has given you the pieces, and you need to put them into place. So I think of it as 3 categories of accessibility features. And the first is that there are some things that are just built in. The Power BI team put them in there for you, and you don't have to do anything at all. And those are very nice and much appreciated. And then there are some that are built in, but you need to configure them just a little bit to make things work. And finally, there are some that there isn't really a specific feature for that part of the accessibility in Power BI, but it's perfectly achievable. You just need to take the initiative to do it yourself. So when we look at built-in accessibility features, did you guys know that you can navigate an entire Power BI report just using keyboard, no mouse? You can set slicers, you can go and look at every single individual data point on a line chart and select those and see the interactivity between visuals. You can tab through every page in a report. All of that is built in. There's nothing that you have to turn on, it's just there. Another thing that's built in for us is high contrast colors view. So if we use that feature in Windows, we can also have that available in Power BI Desktop, but you can actually go and set it in PowerBI.com and see what that looks like. So people that may have low vision can take advantage of that without you doing anything at all. And we also have pretty good screen reader compatibility. So if you use, for instance, JAWS, you can use a screen reader to consume a report, and it's a pretty cool experience. There are a couple extra features built in to play nicely with screen readers, including an accessible show data table, and we'll see what that looks like in a second. And the last feature in this list is actually just in focus mode, and you may be looking at me like, well, that's just a normal feature. And it absolutely is, but it also helps with accessibility. Someone who's having trouble consuming information or who needs fewer distractions may go to in focus mode so that they can analyze the single chart and get what they need out of it, and then go back to the main report page. So let's take a quick look at keyboard accessibility, and I'm going to do this in Power BI Desktop, but in PowerBI.com the experience is pretty much the same. So I have my report set up so that I can tab through visuals. If you look at those cards, you'll see that light blue outline. But I can also pick a visual and actually go inside of the visual and select certain data points, whichever ones I want. And I can multi-select or single select and clear them. But I can also get to this screen reader accessible show data table. So it's kind of the same show data that we look at, but this table is specifically configured to be readable by screen readers. So I can go back and keep tabbing through, and we can look at slicers real quick. So I can change it through the different types. I'm actually just going to put it back. And so because I have my list, I can go backwards, maybe. And I can enter things in here, or I can leave it as it was and select a single slicer. I also have a glossary in my page. Oops, back one. So if I have buttons, those are also keyboard accessible. And then I can go back to my main page. So that's just built in for you. We'll talk in a second about some things you'll want to configure to make that the best experience, though. So next we'll talk about built-in accessibility features that you need to do something with. And the first is alt text. Alt text is just adding descriptive text to the visuals on your page so that people using screen readers can get more information. I've seen people use screen readers with Power BI, and it's kind of amazing, but remember that they have to hear data points and information and try to keep that in memory to get a full picture. So we want to provide as much information as possible to tell them whether they need to dig into the details of this particular visual before they go and do that. So that's where alt text comes in. And then we have tab order. In my demo a minute ago, you saw me tab through visuals, and the order that I went from visual to visual matched the way we visually consume the report. And that's because I had the tab order set. If I didn't, I think the tab order is the order in which the visual was placed on the page. So we want to adjust that to provide a better experience. And then here's another big thing that you would also think, this isn't an accessibility feature, but let me tell you, chart titles are a huge accessibility feature. For the same reason that alt text is or anything else, we're providing upfront descriptive information for people who may require a little more effort to dig into our charts. So if we provide really nice descriptive titles, that actually helps them to place the information in context and then decide, is this something that I need to focus on? Or is this something that I can skim or skip past to get to the part that's most important to me? So let's take a quick look at alt text. And I can select any visual on the page, whether it's a text box or a custom visual or a built-in visual. And if I go on the formatting pane, in the general area, there's this alt text box. So it's plain text, and I think it can hold like 250 or 255 characters, but this is your chance to give the screen reader an extra longer description. So the way a screen reader will work with this is it will get to a visual, and it will read the title. So if we look at this top left waffle chart, it's called questions answered. It will then tell you the chart type, like line chart, that matrix, that type of thing. And then it'll read the alt text. So my alt text for this visual just provides a summary statistic. So it's saying exactly what the visual shows, that 77% of Power BI questions were answered. But if your data refreshes, you may not be able to put that summary number in there. That's not realistic because you're not going to go in and change that every time your data changes. So if you have refreshing data or you have a chart where there isn't a single summary data point, you can just provide a nice descriptive, extra description. Think of it as your subtitle. So if questions asked over time is my title, and they go, well, what's that? Well, it's the number of Power BI questions asked from 2015 to 2019 by month. So that's the upfront information that a screen reader will use that will speak out loud to the user. And finally, we have what I call our DIY accessibility features. And those are the ones that may take a little more effort from you. There's not something specifically in there to make everything work, but it's absolutely doable. The first is color contrast. Have you ever looked at a report that may have been, let's say, a black background, and then it's got kind of medium gray font, and it was really hard to read? Or in the old Power BI defaults, sometimes the white background with the light gray font, people had a hard time reading it. There's actually a way to measure color contrast to determine if it is sufficient and easier to read for people. You can also check colorblind friendly colors. So some people just see color differently than we do, and there are actually lots of different kinds of color blindness. I tend to check for maybe the 3 most popular as much as possible, and all of them if I can. And it's usually less that a single color is in there. Like, I can make a report that uses the color green. Red-green color blindness is pretty common. But if I have red and green together, that's when it can get very confusing. And there's a whole collection of colors that just don't look the same together and aren't easily distinguishable. And then here's our last feature, report themes. And again, it's not a accessibility specific feature, but it's actually really helpful. So let's say I go and I do all the work to set my color contrast correctly. I get all my labels and titles, and I've made sure that my background on my charts looks good with those texts. I get colorblind friendly colors. Then I can make a report theme that themes every single visual and have my color theme in there so that I don't have to make sure that I set that every time I build a chart. So it actually is a very good accessibility feature. And I will say Power BI has some color themes that are labeled as colorblind friendly, but I'm gonna acknowledge that a whole lot of us have to comply with corporate color themes, or we need to use certain colors together because they have some kind of cultural or organizational meaning to us. So I shouldn't say there's nothing there, but it's not about the actual color theme in and of itself. It's about the use of the colors together and the way that you do that that makes it colorblind friendly. So let's check out how I test color blindness. I actually have a little browser add-in to do this. So here's my same report that I did keyboard accessibility on, but I have a browser add-in that simulates each type of color blindness. So watch how the colors change as I cycle through this. Now, the nice thing about this report is that I used a very monochromatic color palette. So it's all shades of blue with some gray, white, black mixed in. Let's look at some KPIs about parking citations. And this is just the default setting in a KPI. So here's what it looks like normally. Here's what it looks like for protanopia. Now remember, the one on the right with the exclamation point is the original red bad one. To me, now that I've changed this, that one actually looks more green. And so here's where that combination of colors comes in. It's not that the green or the red in and of itself was necessarily bad, but we're actually using those to convey some kind of status meaning. So people have to take extra care about how they're using these colors with each other. And so to me, if I found this, I would need to adjust my colors. But there's also something really smart in this KPI in that it's got a checkbox next to it to say this is good. And this one has an exclamation point to say, you know, this is not in an acceptable range. So those are accessibility features. Let's talk a little bit about accessibility standards. How many of you have to conform to WCAG in your organization? A couple people? The Power BI team, yes. WCAG is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, and it was originally made for kind of web apps, but it works pretty well for data visualization as well. And really, when you think about it, you've deployed your Power BI report to powerbi.com, and it's inside of a website now. So I find a lot of their guidelines to be very, very helpful when I'm designing my Power BI reports to be accessible. So here's an easy example of one of the guidelines in the WCAG standards. So the way that they work is there's an overall guideline, so 1.4 distinguishable. And then there's success criteria about, in this case, the use of color. How do I use color on my page? And then there are levels that go from single A to triple A as far as the level of accessibility. So single A is kind of your basic. And most organizations won't be triple A on everything. It's a little bit unrealistic. And so you'll have some things in which you're triple A and some things in which you're single or double. And that's fine, because at least with single A, you're still compliant. You're still trying to be accessible. So let's talk about what this example means. I have a simple table that says current year sales by product. And that table shows my products and the current year sales, but I've color-coded using conditional formatting to say if it's green, it's greater than last year's sales for that product, and if it's red, it's lower. That's great, but a person who has red-green color blindness may not be able to distinguish those very well. So all this is saying is add something else to convey that same information so that color is not the only thing indicating that sales are above or below prior year sales. All I did was add an extra column to my table that had an indicator in it. So it points up if my sales are above last year and down if they're below. It didn't take up that much extra room. It wasn't very hard to do, but that satisfies this WCAG requirement. So I want to show you one other success criteria, just to point out that WCAG covers more than visual accessibility. We often think, oh, data visualization reports are totally a visual thing, but there's also some cognitive and motor accessibility issues there too. So one of the success criteria is identifying jargon. It is super common for us to do this, especially because we get caught up in our own world. Even the Microsoft people talk at us in acronyms all day long, and so we're so used to them. But it can actually be difficult for people with cognitive disabilities to try to translate all our jargon into meaningful terms, or if it's just your first day on the job and you don't know what anything means yet, it makes it more difficult to consume information. So let's say I was trying to save space in my Power BI report, and so I wrote CY sales by products, and I've got my product code name in there because we all know the code names, and then I just wrote rev for sales revenue. Well, that's not enough to meet the success criteria, so I take this as I need to do two things. The first is that I want to spell out as much as I can. I'm going to spell out current year sales and indicate that it's actually dollars rather than units because I didn't specify before by product, and then I use my actual longer product names and say it's sales in USD. So that gets rid of some of the jargon, and then whatever's left, I may put in my glossary so that I have something right there to explain what all the rest of the terms mean. I don't think you'll ever get rid of all the jargon, and that's not the goal. And you may have some industry-specific jargon that's really well accepted, that everybody understands. The point is to just think about it from your audience's point of view and try to remove as much jargon as you can and explain the rest. Anybody here work for schools or government agencies? I see some hands. All right, so you may be familiar with 508 compliance. Anything that is developed, procured, maintained, or used by federal agencies needs to be 508 compliant, and that has to do with making those things accessible as well. So when I do work for schools, they get federal funding and they have to comply with these regulations. And part of that is the federal funding, but part of that is also state agencies. A lot of them have adopted these standards as well. The super nice thing is that last year, 508 compliance aligned themselves with WCAG 2.1. So now we don't have to learn two sets of standards. If you learn WCAG, you've basically learned 508 compliance. So there's one bonus to make life a little easier. So I'm going to share with you my list of how I test visual accessibility because that's a big part of Power BI reports. And the first is just do keyboard navigation. Just like I showed you, you can do that. If you go into the report and hit question mark, it'll tell you all the keyboard shortcuts. So try it out. And if there's something you can't get to or some really key piece of information that was hard to get to, maybe you need to rearrange stuff a little bit. The second is that you can test color vision deficiency. I showed you I have a browser add-in, but there are also websites like Coblis, color-blindness.com, that you can take a screenshot of your report and upload it and have it, it has little buttons for you to try all the different types of color blindness. VizCheck is another one, they're both fine. And then for color contrast, there's WebAIM and Accessible Colors. And so you'll see a demo of that in a bit, but I like Accessible Colors better because it actually will tell you how, it'll suggest how to change your colors to be more accessible. So if your text doesn't stand out from the background enough, it'll say, oh, just change your background color to this, or change your font color to this, and either one will get you there. And then there's a squint test or a blur tool. And we actually use this in just regular data visualization design, but you can use this to test accessibility. So you don't have to have a tool, but you can do this with a Chrome add-in like I have, or just step back from your report and kind of half close your eyes, literally squint at it, and see what pops out to you. Does the information flow in a logical way? We're basically trying to reduce cognitive load. So if you have one chart in your top left corner and one chart in your bottom right, and they're kind of related, and you feel like somebody's gonna get lost when they're trying to read everything, that's your cue to rearrange it to be more cognitively accessible. Or if you notice some kind of formatting, like borders, backgrounds, that stands out more than information, that's a sign that you may need to adjust some things. And you can do kind of the same thing if you're making mobile reports. So publish your mobile report, grab your phone, turn your brightness all the way down, and see what pops out. Is the information people need still there? You may not be able to read every detail, but is it obvious how people should navigate through the report? Are things in the right order? Do the same kind of squint test, just with low brightness. So far we've talked about more longer-term disabilities. People who are blind and use a screen reader, or have low vision and are permanently that way. But the way we build for accessibility can actually help us for temporary conditions, or just things like abilities and preferences. How many of you, when you use Excel, do all keyboard shortcuts? You basically don't touch your mouse. Yeah. Power BI is getting to the point that if you just prefer to use a keyboard, you could do that. If that makes people's workflow better, it helps cater to how they like to work, they get their job done, they get the information out of the report, then that's a great thing, and it's a different kind of accessibility, but still really relevant. Another thing is just environment. What if you're looking at a report in a really dark room or a really bright room? You're sitting here and you've got this blinding light in front of you. Well, does my report look good if that's a normal condition that people consume my report in? I need to test for that. And then there are also all kinds of just temporary personal conditions. Have you ever been staying late or working late at night and your eyes are just tired and you're having a hard time focusing? Consider that a temporary disability. Can I build my report in a way that helps you still get what you need? Or did you have a fight with your roommate, spouse, dog before you came to work and you're still just really upset about it? Can I make sure that my visuals in my report are very clear so I'm not making you have to hold a lot of stuff in memory so the report doesn't feel chaotic, and it's just very clearly communicating what you need so you can get on with your day? And if I haven't said this enough, don't think of accessibility in Power BI as just a visual thing. There are actually 4 key areas. We don't always do a lot of audio in a report, but sometimes we do. Sometimes we need to play Baby Shark in a report. Sometimes we have a video explaining what information is in there. So when we do things like that, we want to make sure that users can start and stop the audio, that if it's long audio, there's some kind of transcript or caption. Motor accessibility has a lot to do with people that don't use a mouse, so that's where that keyboard navigation is really key. And then cognitive accessibility covers a huge area. So that could be dyslexia or other kinds of learning disabilities. It could be dementia and issues retaining information. And then we get to our visual. And that is obviously a big part when you're doing data visualization, but that's not all there is. And we want to make sure we're catering to our whole audience. Did you know that 20% of people in the United States have some kind of disability? Which means someone in this room has a disability that if I'm making a report for them, I want to make sure that I've taken that into account. So I'm going to invite Tessa up.
Cool. So now that Megan has gone through some of the different ways that we have accessibility features built into Power BI and some of the ways that we test that, we're going to take you through a longer demo. And this is going to show a not so great report and how we would have gone through and made it a little more accessible. So to begin with, we're going to run through each of the features and those inaccessible areas and the fixes. So in the top left, we have the text sales report, and it's in blue, and that doesn't match any of the other text in our report. Australia is gray, that text, and against a gray background, so it's a bit hard to see. Then we have this table visual where we have these blue lines that are a bit distracting. Then the next thing is that this line chart has a ton of data labels, which are really hard to read and identify. And we have our categorical axis labels vertically, which are also difficult to read. In our column chart, we have a lot of different colors here. And in our legend, we have to scroll a lot to see all the different categories that are in our visual. Our scatter chart has a title that doesn't really provide a lot of information. And our tree map, pretty similar to our column chart, is pretty difficult to read as well. So the first thing is that we're going to lighten the background color to white and try to make it a little more, the color contrast a little more stark, and so we can see some of that gray text against it. Next, we're going to clarify and rearrange some of our visuals. So now on the left, we have all our sales visuals, and on the right, we have all of our visuals related to net satisfaction. Then we're going to add some descriptive titles to really orient the user or consumer, and so they know what they're looking at and have a better understanding of what their report entails and what each visual is supposed to display. And make sure you put these in natural language. If you're afraid that your title is going to get too long, we also have word wrap now, so you can use that option as well. And we've replaced scatter chart with a more meaningful title over here. The next thing is also removing the unnecessary jargon and acronyms. And if you're, as Megan said earlier, if your report consumer is someone who's external, they might not know all the same acronyms that you do. If you're making a presentation and giving the presentation to someone, then you don't have to use your cognitive capacity to try to remember what did that acronym mean and try to figure out what's going on in your report as well. And there we're also adding in USD so we can let our user know what currency they're working in. And also you should make your fonts consistent across your report. So if I have different chart visual titles, I want to make those consistent across them with the same color and size and font style. And you should also do that for other components of your visuals, such as data labels and access labels as well. Oftentimes in these report visuals, the legend can show up really small, and it can be really difficult to read just from the text size. So you should also go through and make those a little bit larger as well. And this is where the squint test could come in really handy to see what is and isn't readable from a distance. The next one would be checking color contrast. So in this case, we're going to take the hex code of this text color I have here, and we're going to compare that against the hex code for the background color. And in this other web app that I have, we already pre-populated it with the hex codes and checked the color contrast ratio. So here it's 11, and that well exceeds the 4.5 suggested ratio. Then next we'll check for color blindness in that same extension that Megan used earlier to see if we can, to check if our report can meet a lot of different needs and different kinds of color blindness. Then we'll go ahead and add some alt text. So right now I'm using my text box and I'm just adding that same text to my alt text so the screen reader will provide that information. And then if I'm going over to my visuals, I'll want to provide that description that'll let a user know what's going on in the visual and that they can get the same kind of information as someone who is sighted and looking at the report as well. And just as a reminder, the screen reader will read out your title, the visual type, and your alt text. And the last thing is to set the tab order. So you would just open up your selection pane and move over to the tab order tab. And here you'll see all the different objects that are on your canvas. Something you can do is that you can hide different objects if you don't want them to be in the tab order. So that's really helpful if you have things like shapes that you're just using for decorative elements that don't really provide any meaning or context to the data and what story you're trying to tell with it. And you can just drag and drop your different objects and set them in the order that you want them to be. And in this case, I'm trying to make the tab order go from the top left and going down and across to the right after. Another way that you can also set the tab order is that you can use the little arrow keys in the top left of the selection pane as well. So we'll see that in a second. Then after you've done that and set your tab order, you can just tab through your different visuals and check to make sure that they fall exactly the way that you want your user to navigate through your port. It'll help with the story that you're trying to tell as well. Cool. So now that we've gone through how we would fix a not so great report and make it more accessible, we thought from the product side it'd be really interesting to tell you about how we think about accessibility from the product team and how we are building it into our design more. So 2 to 2.5 years ago, a lot of Microsoft products actually suffered from being inaccessible. And so Satya from the top decided that this was something that we were going to change. And now no products at Microsoft are allowed to ship without accessibility being built in. And this is just a little quote from him that we display on our internal accessibility website. And it's just a good reminder that accessibility is not something that you can just bolt on at the end, and that it's something that you should really build into your products and as you're iterating through, so that you can really design for as many people as possible. So Power BI also falls into our cloud and AI division at Microsoft, and we have an accessibility team dedicated to our specific division. And they came up with these accessibility grades. So starting from the bottom, if you don't have a UI, then this isn't applicable to you, and you have an exception. If you're at an F grade, that means that you haven't done a test pass and you don't meet any of Microsoft's accessibility standards. D is that you've done that test pass, but you haven't executed on your action plan to make yourself compliant and fix those bugs. C means that you're compliant and you satisfy all the accessibility standards that Microsoft has. B means that you actually create a user-friendly experience for using those accessible features. And A means that you exceed expectations and that you have created an innovative experience that is enjoyable to use. So starting off, before we started thinking about accessibility and how we're going to build that in, we were definitely not at a C. We were probably closer to a D or an F. But after we did a couple of test passes, we found that we actually had over 700 bugs. And so that was a pretty tough pill to swallow, I think. We asked ourselves then, how can we get ourselves to that grade level C, and how do we make ourselves be compliant? And how can we also impact the most users possible? So the most Power BI, or a lot of our Power BI users are consumers, and we thought that would be one of the best ways to reach as many people as possible quickly. And so we looked at our consumption experiences first. So the first two accessibility features that we created are tabbing through visuals and switching pages. And the second one was the show data view. So you can press Alt-Shift-11 on a visual, and you can get the data in a tabular format. And just a little note, in this show data view, it's an HTML table. So you can use whatever keyboard shortcuts apply to that particular screen reader that you're using. So it might not be the same across your different screen readers if you're using this view. After that, we started to tackle some of the authoring and interactivity experiences. So the two photos on the left show our keyboard navigation on slicer and justin filters. They're also high contrast. You can put them in a high contrast mode. They work with screen readers, and the little blue boxes around them show focus as to where you are. And the photo on the right shows some of our shell navigation. So you can do the same kind of navigation within an authoring experience if you're going through the fields list, for instance. And when we were thinking about authoring reports, we started to think about, or we looked at other Microsoft products that we thought might help with how we would design these as well. So here we have our pre-simplified multi-line ribbon from Word and Office. And if I wanted to tab through and use keyboard navigation on this, if I press tab once, I get to the File tab. Another time, I get to Home. A third time, Insert. Fourth time, Draw. Fifth time, Design. And if I want to get all the way to the end, somewhere like Dictate, by the time that I get there, I'll have pressed tab around over 50 times. And this was also a pain in the butt to make, so I hope the point is getting across. But then Microsoft, or Word started thinking about their simplified ribbon experience. And with this, they got a little bit smarter. And besides wanting to create a more experience that got rid of a lot of the clutter and made it a little easier to find the specific tools that you want, they also implemented or thought about it from an accessible standpoint as well. And now they group together like buttons, and so they've set up a hierarchy between different sections where you can navigate to a section of buttons, and then you can tab through those specific buttons. So we thought about that with visual level or visual keyboard navigation. And we know a lot of you are using reports that have a lot of data, and when you tab through, it can be really cumbersome to just keep pressing tab, 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 tab over and over again. So here we've created an experience where you can navigate through the different main areas of a visual. So here you can navigate through the x-axis categorical labels. Then you can also tab to the plot area with your data, with your main data points there. And then you can also tab to the legend at the top. And within those things, you can also tab through the specific labels and data points that you have in those areas. So here I've tabbed to Great Britain, and I can also select it with my keyboard. I can navigate out and then tab through the different actual data points here in my series that says large and select data points. I can also switch series, and now I'm in my medium series and can tab through as well. And then if I go to my legend instead, if I want to select the data points across an entire series, I can also navigate through that as well. So here's a little update on what is coming next for Power BI and accessibility. And the first thing is to stay healthy. So after we fix those 713 bugs, I think the worst thing would be to just not do any more work on it. And we just want to make sure that we at least stay compliant and that we're staying healthy. And our accessibility team in our cloud and AI division has set some things in the process. So for instance, if an accessibility bug is filed against us, then we have 60 days to fix it. So that's built into our structure. Another thing is that we're working towards our B grade to become more user-friendly. And we want to continue improving our authoring experience. So if you went to our Power BI session that was about the roadmap and what's coming, things like the ribbon, since we're getting the Office ribbon and working to put that into Power BI, that'll have a lot of the Office accessibility built into it already. And the last thing is user feedback on accessible experiences. So we're trying to gather as much user feedback from you guys as to what does and doesn't work and whether that actually can mirror an experience that is friendly and actually works for you. And there's nothing like real life users to help expose products in our gap as well, right? So this has very much been a learning experience for us with accessibility. And we're hoping that by us sharing some of our journey with you, that this would be helpful information for you guys and your organizations to figure out how you can make your organization have a culture of accessibility. So we have some suggestions also to help you get started in creating this in your organization. And the first thing is that for Power BI specifically, you should test your reports today. Just have a better understanding of where your reports aren't accessible and how you can help your consumers. The next thing would be to make a plan to get healthy and stay healthy. So you can figure out what that means for your organization, and you can even create a scorecard for your own organization. You can copy ours, you can use that A, B, C, D grade, and have different goals in mind for different parts of your organization. You should also try to foster a culture of accessibility. That way, as you're iterating and working on your report, it's something that you're building into the product. And yesterday, Amanda did a session about getting started in Power BI, and I really liked how she was talking about how you should talk to your report consumers and have a better understanding of what they want and what they need so that you can go back and forth. And accessibility is a great thing to incorporate in that. You should also ask yourself what it would mean for your organization to be compliant and get to that C grade level, and what it would mean for you to get from a C then to an A and exceed expectations and be innovative in your thinking. And lastly, for legal reasons, you should also make sure that you're an equal opportunity organization and that you're hiring people with all different sorts of skill sets and the skill sets to help you in your org.
Great. So as we wrap up, I want to share with you something called the curb cut effect. And what that is it refers to back when we actually put curb cuts, so those inclines and intersections so that people don't have to go up on a curb. It's just a slow graded ramp. Those were put into place, and when they were, people in wheelchairs had drastically increased mobility. And that was great for them, but it also benefited parents with children in strollers, skateboarders, workers with heavy carts. And so the idea behind the curb cut effect is that laws and programs and Power BI reports that are specifically designed to be accessible actually end up benefiting everybody. And the second point of the curb cut effect is that things that were once considered assistive technologies, so curb cuts at some point were considered an accessibility feature, when they become so ubiquitous and we realize the value from them for everybody, they're not considered assistive anymore. They're just part of normal design. Now when we build intersections, we kind of assume there's a curb cut there, and we don't think of it as an accessibility thing. So you can make your Power BI reports in that fashion and start embedding good habits in your organization with the way that you build your reports and deploy the reports and get feedback from users, so that accessibility isn't this extra foreign thing that, oh, it only benefits the rare person that we know has a disability. These habits just get built in, and it actually benefits usability for everybody. So I'd like to challenge you to start doing 4 easy things right now. We showed you all the accessibility features, and what you notice is that they're just built into Power BI, and they really don't take that much extra effort to make them happen. So the first thing is to just set that tab order of the visuals on your report page. Go in, open the selection pane, and make sure that when you navigate with a keyboard, and you're literally just hitting tab to go from visual to visual, that matches the same way that you visually consume the report. The second thing is just to replace jargon and acronyms. Step back and think, do I have any words that are specific to my department or my organization, or just abbreviations of things that might be unclear? If you feel like you can't do that, go ask a new person in your organization or someone else and go, do you know what that means? And replace that as much as possible, and if not, add some kind of dictionary or glossary to help with that. The third thing is to add alt text. We saw that it's just a text box. You can go and add your text in there to be descriptive so that screen readers can have that information available. And then the fourth thing is just your text color contrast. It's not hard to open up accessible-colors.com, go into a text box, go into a title on a chart, grab that hex value, and then paste it into accessible colors and get your background color and put it in and see if you hit 4.5, which is kind of the standard for AA compliance. It really just takes a small tweak. So if you find out you're not, changing from a light gray to a darker gray really doesn't have a large impact on the end user experience as far as your colors and how they make people feel when they use the report, but it has a huge effect on accessibility. So before I start taking questions, I would like to leave you with a parting thought. What if you did just those 4 things, knowing that accessibility and being 100% accessible is kind of a big deal and it's hard to get there, but you just started with those 4 things and you built your reports from now on with inclusiveness in mind. And then someone comes to work with you, or if you're a consultant or an ISV, you get a new customer. And for the first time in maybe weeks or months, that person doesn't have to ask you to rebuild it or add an accommodation for them. And they can just do their job or just get the information they need out of the report. So yes, there's a compliance and regulatory aspect that is important for accessibility, but what if you helped someone just get to do their job without all these barriers in place? So that's our content. If anybody has questions, you're welcome to step up or yell them out and we can address them. Sure.
We've used alt text a bit, but JAWS seems to read the title, and then we had the title repeated in the alt text, and it was a little annoying. Is there something more concise that we could put in alt text so that it's just not duplicating?
So the question was, you're using alt text today, but you're basically copying the title text into the alt text. And is there something better to put in the alt text? You saw my example earlier. I do like a long form where we typically have titles that are maybe 3 to 6 words. I do the long form, put it in a sentence that fully explains, and maybe if there's some filters that are set on the page that never change, include those. So when I showed my questions asked on Stack Overflow report, I said, this is the % of questions answered between 2015 and March 2019, because otherwise they're having to hold that in their mind while they go through the report. So that's what I try to do. So this is more of a sentence or 2 instead of the 6-word brief title thing to me. Good question. Someone else?
Are the Power BI reports accessible also? Like the
Paginated reports. I actually don't know the answer. Are they?
Yes.
All right, Amanda says yes. Have not tried that version yet. Back there.
Oh, it's just my idea suggestion and like executive question. So we have very small team. We are not developer or coders. So I think if Microsoft can add features something like in option section to something like a toggle button to change a preset or predefined color palette to for colorblind, or if they toggle on that function, then minimum font size will be something like larger size font. Then I think it'll be easier to design more disability people audience. So if Microsoft developer can add that kind of feature, then it'll be easier for turn our work, design development.
So you're suggesting that they change the defaults on certain chart types to already be more accessible with font sizes and line colors and things like that?
Yeah, so that's actually something that we've been working on. We've heard a lot of feedback that some of our colors are more difficult to read or the font size is too small, so we've definitely heard that feedback and we're working on that.
Okay, sounds good.
So they actually have telemetry, I believe, about some of that information, so they could tell that a whole lot of people would take like their data labels and make them black font size, I'm just making up these specs, but size 11 because they started out at 8 point or something. So they can see some of that, but even more than that, are you guys familiar with ideas.powerbi.com? You can log an idea there and solicit votes. And so accessibility features I don't think have to go through there, but you can still make that very public, and it's another way to communicate with the team.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Another question?
We have in some of our titles actually a measure so that what's displayed, maybe the month and the year are dynamic to the data. Do you know how
that's Will. If you guys don't know him, he's on the Power BI team. He knows things. So that's the definitive answer. For those who couldn't hear, it was if you have that DAX formula to set your title because it's dynamic, the question was, does a screen reader read the formula or the result? And we've determined it is the result.
So Will, does that work in alt text as well?
You can't put a DAX formula in alt text yet.
I've been asking for it. See, somebody else besides me would like dynamic alt text. Okay. Question? So the question was, is there a difference in screen reader functionality if you're doing publish to web or embedded Power BI versus going to powerbi.com or using desktop? I can tell you for sure the publish to web, the keyboard navigation still works. I think if you're embedding, there are ways that they can cause that not to work, but by default, it's still there for the most part.
For embedded, it still works. I think there's a different keyboard shortcut to actually enter the report because we need to know that you're in that iframe. I forget what it is off the top of my head, but yes.
Once they that keyboard shortcut, they'll hear all the screen reader, everything off.
Yep, so when you embed, it's just an iframe, whether it's published to web or embedded. So once you're actually in the report and that part of it has focus, then your screen reader should work as normal.
And somewhere in the documentation it says that you would like best practice just outside of the iframe, not in the Power BI report, but on the web page, you would have some text that a screen reader could pick up, say, in some special key combination to dive into this embed.
I don't believe that the screen reader would read that out before telling you, unless it's set up that way.
It depends on the tab order of things in the web page where it's embedded, but you could absolutely add something if you were doing the embedding. On the publish to web, there's not a thing there, but having watched someone with a screen reader, he generally got to that point pretty easily because it worked like any other web page until they got to the page content.
Okay, so it's like a normal, the user could be doing it, it's a normal process that they do. There's nothing unique about a Power BI embed to say it's some special key combination. It's just, I get another embedded web, I know what to do.
Yep.
Yep. We got about 2 minutes left, so we'll take one more question if anybody has one, and then we'll wrap up. Go for it.
And I haven't looked for the documentation, sorry if it's there. Do y'all have, I know you have some like video examples of, oh, here's the before and after. Do you also put up like PIX files, like here's the before, here's the after, so I can share it out to users? Oh, here's a good work example, or including where they changed all this stuff.
Yeah, we don't have that right now, but that's good feedback to hear because I actually am updating the Power BI accessibility documentation. So
Yeah,
that is
whenever possible, like before and after PIX files, it just makes it.
Yeah.
the actual file and not just an image.
Yes, the actual.
Okay.
Just that bottom as a zip file.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for the
Great.
feedback.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.